Hello party people. So this will be the video that helps you go through exercise 3. Exercise 3 has to do with recoding, and I will talk a little bit about what that is, what that means, and why you would even bother doing this, possibly. So again, just like exercise 1, I know 2 is a little different, but you'll just get the file titled exercise 3 off of Canvas, download that, and then you'll be able to, you should type all of your answers in here. You don't need to do anything fancy. And you'll be using the 2021 GSS file in SPSS. So, having said all of that, while I yap a little bit about what recoding is, you can go grab all of that stuff if you don't have access to it at the moment. And I'm going to close windows that I don't need. So I'm also not going to open this up in presentation mode properly because I don't want to. So recoding is basically you're changing the level of measurement for whatever a given variable. You are taking however it was coded originally, that's what it's called when they're inputting the data. You're taking however it was initially coded and recoding it into something else. So what does that mean? Here you can see age, which is continuous. That's how it is in the GSS, right? You can take this continuous variable, scale, interval, ratio, whatever you want to call it. Again, they all mean basically the same thing. Where, maybe on a survey, you asked people to just write down whatever their age is, or type whatever their age is, because I hope nobody's taking paper surveys in 2025. And then you can code it then into, and pretend that I included under 18 in my original thing, but you can code it then down into ordinal categories, right? So you can condense everybody that was under 18 into a category called under 18. You can take everybody from between the ages of 18 and 23 and, put them into a category. So on and so forth, right? Sometimes surveys, it just depends on the survey, but sometimes they will collect it in the categorical way. Sometimes they don't, right? And there are reasons as to why you would want to do this, which I'll get into shortly. But it's important that you have at least somewhat of a grasp on the different levels of measurement, because it's important to remember that you can always condense categories down to a different level of measurement, but you can never, ever expand upwards. So just if you were writing a survey, you wouldn't, for example, be able to go from if you collected it at this level of measurement, if you collected it in an ordinal way, you cannot recode and expand up into a continuous version of that variable, right? Because you have no idea if someone picks, this answer choice, if they're 18, if they're 19, if they're 20, 21, whatever, right? You only know that they're in this chunk. You don't know if they're 20. So you can condense down, you cannot expand up, right? And you can do this with a bunch of different types of levels of measurement. So, for example, I'm sure you've all seen surveys or whatever where you have the strongly agree to strongly disagree categories, like answer choices. You could, if you wanted to, condense that down and recode it into just an agree category and a disagree category. Again, there are a bunch of reasons that you might want to do this. For example, the first easy one, is there really some kind of quantitative difference between strongly agree and agree, which means are the people who are selecting either one of these particular choices really statistically different in some way Or is there maybe a qualitative difference that which you would only know if you like interviewed them and like talked to them? And if you're taking a survey, chances are you're not doing that, right? So there are certainly, and survey theory, which I'm not going to get into, can explain why people, choose between these two. I've also seen like a third where it's like somewhat agree. Like you can just combine all of these, right, into agree. Same thing with maybe you don't necessarily, in whatever test you may be running, maybe you don't necessarily care about the people that pick neither because they aren't telling you, what you want to know about your product or what public opinion or something like that, right? So I think one of the examples that I give you guys when we start going into actual doing like tests is, for example, the question here was if someone agreed with gun control, right? So they strongly support gun control measures. They support gun control measures. They neither support nor oppose. And then there's they oppose gun control and then they strongly oppose gun control. Whatever that looks like, right? So you could recode that into they support it or they oppose it. And then you would be able to run a t-test which looks at differences between two categories specifically. And, there are reasons, theoretical reasons why you might do that. But that's basically what you're doing. And again, it is the same thing with age. You can't take, if you collect it at a form where you only ask people if they agree or disagree, you don't know if they strongly agree with whatever statement, or if they only kind of agree with your statement. You only know that they agree, right? That they checked a box. So you can condense down, you cannot expand up. Always remember that. So whenever you're doing your data analysis report too, if you choose to recode, which you might want to for a number of reasons, because you want to run a specific kind of test or whatever, just keep that in mind. So, having said all of that, we are going to go back to SPSS and back to Word or Google Docs, whatever. Our first question here is asking us to recode the variable, which, by the way, I will remind you again that the variable name is in italics, not the variable label, the variable name. So that is this column, not this column. So we're going to recode the variable called poll views into poll views 1. We're going to create 3 new categories, conservative, moderate, and liberal. So step 1 in any recode, you want to look at the original. Presumably, if you have already decided to do a recode, you already know what the original looks like, but we're going to do that here. So again, you can right click in this variable section and have it only show you the variable name so that you don't have to go find it out in the brackets here. And we want poll views, so you can just hit P and that'll take us all the way down to the P's. And we are looking for this one, poll views, right? See, you can see they are the same name. There were people on exercise 1 that somehow, even though I know I said it, that still used the label for whatever reason. So, okay, we're going to drop that over. This is the one we're looking at. None of this stuff matters. You don't need any of that. You just need to know your categories. So we run it, we get our sick little table here, and you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 categories, and I'm asking you to condense it down to 3. So we're going to combine all of the conservative ones, so that's slightly conservative, conservative, and extremely conservative, and leave moderate alone, because they're kind of in the middle. And then we'll combine all of the liberal ones. So extremely liberal, liberal, slightly liberal. The other thing that you can do So if you scroll to wherever that variable is in the list, which GSS is alphabetical, so that saves you a lot of heartache, honestly. Pull. Holy crap, I don't know how to read. Okay. And again, if you remember in the values column, if you click on the right kind of edge of that particular cell, which we're right here, we're poll views, if we click right where that ... is, that will open up and show us these value labels. So we have, again, 1 through 7. We already knew that. There were 7 categories. You need to know what these value labels are, what the number 1 is associated with, right? Because 1 could have been slightly liberal, or 1 could have been extremely conservative. Like, it's good to make sure. You can always write down on like some scratch paper, or take a picture with your phone to refer to, or take a screenshot and leave it open and tab over to it. Whatever you want to do, whatever your method is, just make sure that you know which value labels go with which category. So those are kind of your setup steps. You always need to know your starting point. So in order to recode, you will, instead of going to analyze, which you will go to for basically everything else that we do in this class, you will go to transform, right? Because we are transforming the variable. You will want to recode into different variables. If you select same variables, it will overwrite your original and you cannot go back. So if you screw up, you're screwed. So recode into different variables is the option that we want to pick. And again, you can resize all of this, just like literally all of the other windows. We need poll views. I don't know how to read. Where is it? There it is. Okay, so in this section, it's asking, okay, we have this variable. What do you want to call it? I gave you a name for it already, right? Poll views 1. Wow, it's very creative. Wow, 1. And then I like to also include a label. Generally, you'd want to do this if you are continuing to work with this data, which obviously this particular assignment you're not. But in my own like writing papers and stuff for school and journals, whatever, I try to keep a tab of like what exactly each of these variables like is, because you might know it now, but if you come back to this data set in a year, you might not know what the heck poll views 1 is, right? So it's a recode of poll views. And in order for this to take, you need to click the button that says change. Otherwise, if it's still a question mark over here, this hasn't gone. So that's number 1. Number 2, we click this old and new value. So we're telling it how it was originally and then how we want it to be again. Old is on the left, new is on the right. They are conveniently labeled to make it easy. So our old, well, here, we'll just go like this. So we know that liberal is 1, 2, and 3. And then moderate is 4. Slightly conservative, extremely conservative is 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. It doesn't really matter what order you do these in, but since I wrote conservative, moderate, liberal, I'm going to do them backwards like this. So we start with number 6, right? Slightly conservative. We want 5, 6, and 7. 5, 6, and 7, right? So that encompasses our number 5, which is slightly conservative, number 6, because that's in the middle, conservative, and then extremely conservative is number 7. If there was something in the middle here, say this went to 8, it would be 5, 6, 7, and 8. That's what the range is, right? We want to make that our new number 1. Bam. Okay, so now we have our conservative category. That's done. That's 5 through 7. We're not really changing moderate, right? That's still going to be right in the middle. That is our old number 4, and that's going to be number 2. You have to tell it, even though the moderate one is not changing, you still need to include it in the new variable. So if you leave it out, then it just assumes it's missing or you didn't care about that particular category, right? So that's number 2. And then we need 1, 2, and 3. So 1 through 3 is going to be our new category 3, which counts for liberal. So we have 1, 2, and 3. And over here, these can be literally any numbers. It just obviously makes sense to go in order. You could make this 6, 7, and 8 if you wanted to. You could, like, this could have been 6, this could have been 7 and 8. It really doesn't matter. But save yourself the heartache and just start at 1, 2, and 3, or 0, 1, 2 if you want to do it programming style. So that's it. Everything else, we want to keep our missing stuff as missing. It's already there, but I like to just specifically tell it, like, if it's not been accounted for here, it's missing. So you would hit all other values. There's like a little, I forget what it's called, little button here. And then you would say missing, and then you hit add. Again, if you don't hit, if you don't hit add, it doesn't add it here. So if you don't see it in this little box, it didn't take. So make sure before you hit continue that you have done that. After that, and again, if you make sure that you hit change for whatever you're calling your new variable, you hit OK. Then, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, we can see our new variable right here. What I would advise you to do first, before you do anything else, is make sure that your numbers are right, because it's very easy to accidentally leave out a category or whatever. So you go into descriptives, you can get rid of that because we already ran it, and then you'll drop your new one in there, right? Pool views 1. Again, you don't need to change anything over here. What we're doing right now is making sure that we combined our categories correctly. So where's my calculator? We know that our number 1 was for conservative, right? So that should include slightly conservative, conservative, extremely conservative, or a total of 476 plus 617 plus 174, which is 1,267. Bam, that's right. We know that 2 was still the moderate category, so this number should not change. It should be exactly the same right here, right? Which it is. That's good. We did it right. And then for liberal, we do the exact same thing, which is category 3. So 207 plus 623 plus 490. 1320, 1320. So that is right. And we have the same number of missing. We didn't add anything in this particular case. That's good. After you have done that and you've confirmed that this is correct, because I've done it myself, where you accidentally forget, say you leave out liberal on accident somehow. So you're missing 600 people. You're like, oh my God, what happened? The thing that you will do after that is you'll go to this values thing, and again, you just click on the right part of the box. Now we can tell it what each of those categories are. So for number 1, that was, wow, conservative. Imagine, just pretend that I can spell. 2 is, and type. This is actually my first day seeing a keyboard. So moderate, and then 3, and this was our liberal one. Wow. Oh my God. Okay. So we have our categories, right? After you do that, you can just hit OK. You can see it saved it right here. And then when you rerun it again, now it has those labels. In your final answer, you should have the labels. It should not just say 1, 2, 3. I know what 1, 2, 3 is. You presumably, hopefully, know what 1, 2, 3 is. Make the labels. Oh my god, make the labels. So, all you have to do for your assignment here is make sure that these, that you did everything correctly. You'll have the frequency table for the original, and holy smokes, that is ugly. And then you'll have the frequency table for the recode, and that is somehow even worse. Incredible. And then make sure, like I said, that it's like legible. What the heck? You know what? Let's just delete this. Are we so serious right now, Word? Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay. So then you'll have your table and it'll look so cute and amazing and all of those wonderful things. This is it. This is literally all you're doing for this assignment. And then you can make this slightly cuter if you want to. Do whatever. As long as it's legible and not like when I first pasted it in, right? Or remember again that you can also take the screenshot with Shift Windows S on Windows, obviously, and Shift Command 4 with holy smokes on Mac. I am obviously like woefully ill-prepared for today, but so whatever. If you want to copy pasta the table, if you want to just take a screenshot, I don't care, as long as I can read it. So that's pretty much all you're doing. I'm going to do the second one with you as well, and then you can do the third one on your own. It's basically exactly the same. These are all exactly the same, and I swear that none of them are that bad. So we're recoding Child Idel, which is, I think they asked people what their ideal number of children was. So we'll go here, Child Idel, So this was a scale variable. As you can see, they just entered a number and then they had some catch-alls right here. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or more, and then whatever, as many as I want is the last sort of catch-all. So you can see here, well, doesn't matter. It does not matter that these aren't italicized. It really, really doesn't. Anyway, so I'm asking you to take this and condense it down to 4 categories, from none, 1 to 2, 3 to 5, 6 or more. And then I want you to completely axe this as many as you want category. So we will do the exact same thing. You can get rid of this. We already ran that, right? So, Child Idel, Child 1, recode of change. Okay, old and new values. So the old one, and you will also, if you're doing this consecutively, you'll have to get rid of the old ones. So our old value 0 is, I'm just going to keep it easy, is going to be our new value 0. Then we have our next category is 1 to 2, so range 1 through 2. It's going to be our number 1, right? That's the next number on our right side. And then 3 to 5, so 3, 4, and then 5 is our next category 2, because that is the next consecutive number. And then we will have 6 through, and then that's actually, this is the number 7, is our category 3. And again, this is 4 categories, right? We have 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3 is 4 numbers. These are 4 categories. And then I don't want you to do anything with as many as you want. So everything else missing. Continue. We have this already done. Okay. So we analyze. Wow, frequencies. Scroll to the bottom. Not that one. I swear I know how to use a computer. I promise. Okay. So again, we are making sure that we have done this correctly. Our 0 should still be the same, right? So we have 0 here is 49, 0 up here, 49. Great. Our first category is 1 to 2 kids. So that is 49 kids plus 10, 76, 11, 25. Great. We did it. And then our third category is 3 to 5. So we have 501 plus 160 plus 22, 683, 683. Fantastic. We did it. And then our number 3 here is 6 or more, which, oh my goodness, I'm not even going to bother typing that in the calculator. That is 9 plus 3, which is 12. We have our missing originally is 1339, but we added these folks in here, right? 824. So it should be plus 824. 2163, 2163. Fantastic. We did it. Which means we can come back to this window. Our value, we remember, is 0. The label should be none. Our number 1 is 1 to 2. 2 is 3 to 5. And then 3 is 6 or more. So there's that. We have all of those in there. And you run it again, and we will have our labels. Ta-da! So you will do... Did I hit X? I don't want to cut. I wanted to copy. Excuse me. So I don't know why this is copy pasting in dummy size, but that's okay. So you've got your original and your recode. And that is pretty much it. I don't know, just pretend that's cute. You can make yours slightly cuter, like I said, if you want. It doesn't matter as long as I can read it. So, yeah, you will do the exact same thing with your last question here. And that's pretty much it. Obviously, and then don't forget you have 2 questions at the top here. Like I said, just type your answer. Your SPSS ones don't require any typing, but you can just type these right at the end here. Like, I don't know, pretend that the answer to this is that. You can unbold it to make it easier. You can highlight it. I don't care, as long as I can read it. And I cannot stress enough, please type your answers in this document. Don't make your own. People keep making their own. It makes it where they'll just put like 1, 2, 3 and they'll just put the answers. It is harder for me to grade because I look at very specific spots on the screen to grade these. So please type them in here. Thanks. Obviously, if you have any questions, please just email me. Again, don't Canvas message. I'm at the point where I'm not reading those anymore. I don't get notified for them, and I definitely don't open them up in Canvas because I get way too much spam from other university stuff. There is like 80 some odd messages just like unread, and none of them are from you guys. They're all from like the university, and they're from like just the last like week or so. So I can't find you guys. I can't find your messages, and then they're jank anyway. So if you're sending me a screenshot or anything like that, I can't see it. And so please just email me. That's it. Yeah. Obviously, if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, Godspeed.